Welcome back, everybody, to the Gaming with Flash YouTube channel. I am Flash, and thank you here again for joining me for another Marvel Snap video. I appreciate you guys, love you all. If you could just like and subscribe if you're getting anything from this content, share it with somebody. Very much appreciate that. Check out my new series that I just started, the Marvel Snap 101. It's a beginner's guide to Marvel Snap. So if you're brand new or you know somebody who's brand new, pass that along. It's gonna be a lot of great information in there coming forward. Episode 2 is coming soon. So all of that being said, this video, however, we will be addressing classic discard, right? Classic discard, or quote unquote classic or standard discard, if you will, has been chopped and screwed and torn down in many different ways. It took a big hit after the America Chavez nerf, right? So though myself and those faithful in the discard community have kind of been looking for ways to get back to that. Now, granted, there are other great ways to play discard. You could play it with Hela. You could do Black Knight. There, you know, it can go in a couple of different directions. But those of us that have wanted that tried and true, just straightforward discard, kind of like how Destroy has a one all-in game plan. You know, there are a lot of people like myself that love the all-in discard game plan. And I think I may have found a blend of cards that go well enough together that combine some of the older elements with some of the newer cards and have smashed itself together into this hopefully new, like, kind of marriage of things. And can't wait for you guys to check it out. This deck that I've been running has performed very well. It's performing roughly around a 67% win rate, climbing to be a little bit higher, but we'll cap it at about 67 right now. We're well over 70 games, on our way to 100 games with this deck. The cube rate is very high. We're in the 0.7-ish, 0.8 range of cube rate. Very good right now. So let's check out the deck, see if you guys like it. All right. All right, y'all. So as you see here, you know, I loosely titled this deck Discard Everything because right before Proxima Midnight came out, and maybe the day or days before leading up to it, I originally just put a deck in and just put a whole bunch of stuff as like just the full gamut copium of what happens if I just put all the discard cards in here. And it was a bit of a mess, but not far off from what we have here, to be fair. But I wanted to just kind of get that full sense of this is what discard does, this is what it's about, and not pivot too much, right? Because sometimes you can put a tech card in, you have slots that you can play with, and even in this, you have a couple of slots, in my opinion, that you can kind of mess around with. So let's get right into the deck. First of all, right off the top, you have Meek, okay? We know what Meek does, but I think Meek is a flexible piece in a way where you don't necessarily need the card in here. Is he good at what he does? Yeah, I've had games where Meek is actually bigger than Morbius, if you would somehow, right? And I don't know how it ended up happening, but there were games where Meek just got really big. And okay, so for whatever circumstance, and you know, because of location, etc., etc. But Meek is a good card, not an absolute necessity in this deck. Blade, necessity. Okay, if you're playing discard, you're playing Hela, any sort of discard you're playing, you need to have Blade because he is targeted discard, period. You know what he is, know what he's done, he's overstated for his cost. Morbius, I don't need to explain why Morbius is here. Okay, Swarm finds itself in and out of different versions of discard. It was always in the standard version, classic, what I will now call, this is modern. This is, we've evolved. This is modern discard, okay? Call it whatever you want. I'm just gonna call it modern discard from here on out. It just happened on the fly. Swarm is good here because again, he fits the modern discard style of you're discarding things. That's what you want to be doing. You want targets. You want Swarm to be a 0/3, period. End of story. Colleen Wing, targeted discard. She's a staple in the core archetype, period. Gambit, Gambit is a wild card. No pun intended or pun intended, whatever. He is in fact a wild card in this deck. He's a flex piece here. Is he necessary? No. I like him in this build kind of going forward because he gives you, he satisfies two things for you. One is that he fits into the discard, right? Clips a card out of your hand. But two, he offers you something that the older classic style of discard didn't natively have built into it, which is interaction with your opponent, right? So instead of dumping a bunch of tech cards in here, which you could do, you could take out a couple cards and slip in a few tech pieces. But instead of that, instead of saying, oh, put Shang-Chi in here, let's put Gambit in here. I've had plenty of games. I have clips. They're out there of Gambit sniping the best card on the opponent's side, winning us games. It happens. Plus, again, he discards you a card. And at 3 cost, that's not bad at all. Corvus Glaive. Don't let people tell you this card is bad. It is not. It's not through the moon. It's not a card that's an absolute necessity. If you wanted to cut a piece, you could cut him out. If you don't have the card, there are other cards you could slot in here. I'm not telling you you need Corvus Glaive to make this archetype work. However, I do think he makes it better, period. Just straightforward. It's Lady Sif. We know what she does. Targeted discard. She's been in the archetype since the beginning. Speaking of which, this is a Dracula style discard deck. Okay, it's not Black Knight, it's not Hela. This is standard modern discard. Dracula is here. Period. And because Dracula is here, and I know I skipped a couple, but Dracula and APOC go hand in hand. If you're running Dracula, there's almost no point not to have Apocalypse, and kind of vice versa, right? Apocalypse doesn't go without Dracula, and if he does, I feel like you're not doing it right. You're missing a small element that's kind of like, well, if you could put Apocalypse in, but if you leave Dracula out, it gets kind of awkward in a sense, right? But the two go hand in hand, baby. They're peanut butter and jelly out here. They are doing work together for the good of the discard community. And speaking of which, our new queen of modern discard, because Hela discard is a whole different beast. But our new queen of modern discard has arrived, Proxima Midnight. And what else can I tell you other than this card is a 0/7? There are very few instances, especially in this deck, where you will find yourself hard casting, if you will, if you allow me to use some magic terms, you will find yourself hard casting Proxima straight out to the board. You want to discard her, you want her to jump to the location, she's a free 7 power on the board. She's going to go in every single discard deck from here on out. End of story. MODOK. I've toyed with what went here and finally settled on MODOK. Hellcow was here, and I know generally what you would think is like, well, MODOK's just better than Hellcow. Yes, but for the cost that Hellcow is, which is 4 versus MODOK's 8, and they both offer 8 points of power. I know MODOK discards your entire hand, and that's great, but there were a lot of instances where you might find yourself at the end of the game needing Hellcows for cost to go with something else, so you can do 2 things at the end of the game. A lot of times MODOK might only allow you to just do that and nothing else if you have no swarms available to play. So I've settled on MODOK eventually being the piece that helps bring this together. Again, it could be Hellcow for some people. There are instances where it could be Hellcow, but right now MODOK is performing well. He's been in this version that I've been running that has been running this high win rate with a good cube rate. MODOK is just good. MODOK was the card many months ago that put discard into another stratosphere. Discard was like hovering in the B-C territory, and MODOK took it to the B-A territory. Just like that, overnight, literally. But that's the deck. I'm gonna take this deck into some games. We'll see how it plays out a little bit. There, the play lines, if you haven't been playing discard as long as I have, the play lines sometimes get a little confusing on what to play and when to play it. So let's get into the games and check it out. All right, so we are getting in some games here. We have our turn 1 play straight away. It's just Meek, right? So we get Meek out to the board, turn 1. Now, there are times where I've played Blade turn 1. So if you have Swarm all the way to the right, or you have Apocalypse all the way to the right, you can go ahead and play Blade on turn 1, because hitting an Apocalypse on turn 1 now means that I've had games where Apocalypse has got to like 32, is it 32 power by the end of the game. That's absurd. I know, and that means in that game my Dracula I think was 28, but it's absurd. We have no play here. We don't want to use Blade on anything. There's Morbius. So here's what we're gonna do. Is this a bad idea what I'm about to do? Probably. But considering TVA's on the board, I'm going to assume my opponent doesn't have Storm, but they could. Now that's a piece, right? A lot of discard decks have Swarm. Okay, so just understand that. So let's put Gambit in the Black Vortex. I don't even care what we discard. If we hit Dracula, so be it. But we want that Morbius off the board. So let's go ahead and make that happen. Hey, we hit the big man. Okay. Perfect. We love that. We love that. We love that. This is what I'm talking about. This is why Gambit is here. I hit Destroyer, but Destroyer is going to be a better option than Meek anyway. He's just going to be bigger perpetually. I don't think he's going to be able to deal with 16 power over here. And I'm going to just play Dracula and hope for the best, probably. Well, hold on. Let me see. No. Let's play Corvus and Blade. Oh wow, he's bold here. What are those swarms? What did he hit? I don't even remember. I think we got this. Unless he's got Shang-Chi over there on the left. And then we might be in trouble. It's MODOK. Why is it MODOK? What did I miss here? Lockjaw, there's so much happening here. MODOK. I didn't expect that. Okay, that was unexpected. I didn't think he had the... Oh, he played Corvus. Okay, his Corvus became Heimdall, which allowed him to play MODOK on turn 5. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And that is why, and our fellow discard player on the other side there, that's why Corvus is good. All right, let's get up into another one here, up against Superman. Again, we have Meek in hand on turn 1. We love that. Having Meek out there on turn 1 just makes things very... Now again, here's where you might want to pivot from Meek. Destroy is perpetually a strong and popular archetype in the game. I know because I play a crap ton of Destroy as well. Oh, love this, because now we can get Morbius down now. And we can go Lady Sif. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want to show them the Gambit yet. You know what I'm saying? Let's not give them that piece of information thus far. I want to save that. Obviously we need something on the board for it to hit first of all, but again, like a little surprise Gambit. Sometimes you want to play Gambit early, like I did in the last game, because you know what he's going to hit. But sometimes you want to get Gambit, you want to save him for late. See, right now I want to get Gambit out now, because I want to either hit that Void or hit Sentry. So let's go ahead and get Gambit out now. Okay, so I would go Gambit into Blade, but if Gambit doesn't hit Apocalypse, I'm willfully discarding my Dracula, and that's not a great idea. Now if Gambit hits Apocalypse, then that would be awesome, and then that Blade play, I just don't have the guts. Now as a discard player, sometimes you gotta have the cojones to say, you know what, Gambit's gonna hit Apocalypse, let's do it. I'm not built that way, I'm sorry. See, he hit Blade, but then who knows what okay, we like that though. He hit Sentry, perfect. Okay, he's got a Hulk over there now. We don't love that. What I do love here is Hey, you know what? Let's play Corvus. No, let's not play Corvus. I'm lying. Let's play Dracula. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's play Dracula middle, because we can at least get some more power here if he plays this Annihilus. We can overcome that -10. That's why I didn't put, and that's exactly why I did not put Dracula in the right lane. That was my other thought. A lot of people playing this deck play Hobgoblin, and there you go, right there. That's why I didn't do what I did, what I was going to do, which is play Dracula in the left lane. So let's go ahead. We just get Corvus out, we get Swarm out, and that's the game. That should be it right there. Dunzo. And they retreated because you can't beat that. Okay, I don't care what you're doing on the other side there. He doesn't have enough left. Annihilus Demon wasn't gonna dig him out of that one. All right, so who do we got here? Valerio. Again, we got Meek in hand on turn 1, but like I said, so here's also a problem. Bar with no name presents an interesting complication with Meek here, because you don't know where he's gonna end up, and then you don't want to have to limit your discard. Okay, Forge tells me possibly destroy right away. Right away, which means he could be taking a risk also. If he's playing X-23 and or Wolverine, he could be taking a risk. So if that's the case, we're gonna go ahead and risk it anyway, because he's probably playing Killmonger, which again Meek is going to have a hard time with. So here we go. Let's just get, oh crap, Proxima kind of hurts us here too, doesn't it? Yeah, she does. Well, sometimes you just have to sometimes you just have to YOLO. Okay, Forge into Rock Slide. All right, so Proxima could go left or right, and she went left. So if our opponent snaps, we'll just go ahead and concede and queue up another one. But sometimes these things happen. Overcoming Bar with no name is a thing that can be done. It's not impossible. Okay. All right, Meek might move. Well, he'll move wherever. We can overcome this 7 power in the left lane here. That's not absurd for us to, you know, be able to do. Man, we need a really good draw off the top, because we got a bunch of swarms we can play out, which is good. If we get like Gambit, there goes my Meek, which actually is not terrible considering. Oh, he's playing Bounce with Rock Slide. This is interesting. This is a list I have not come across as of yet. Man, if I had Storm in this deck, I could flip Bar with no name. Okay, well, let's just play everything out. And I don't think we have the overall power to win here. He's played just a bunch of 2s, and let's see what happens. We'll play it out for 1 cube. But ideally, what'd they play in the left lane? They probably just played something that's less than 7 power. Yeah, oh, okay, they put Werewolf over there. And the Rock Slide, uh-oh. I say uh-oh for my opponent. Oh man, they almost gaffed that. Almost. All right, let's get one more in here. We're playing up against Chang. So explaining a little bit more about, okay, now we just have to pass. You want to be able to play Meek on turn 1. If you cannot, you can play Blade depending on if you have Swarm or Apocalypse or Proxima on the right part of your hand. Okay, those are all options that you can do. Turn 2, you want to always be getting Morbius down. If you can't get Morbius down on turn 2, Colleen Wing is good if you have Swarm in hand without Blade, right? As long as you don't have Blade or Meek in your hand, Colleen Wing is a good play if you just have a Swarm in your hand. And our opponent retreated, so we got to get one more in. We got to get a solid one in. We can't. That's not the one. I didn't even have enough time to finish explaining what I was going through. Our last opponent decided to be very rude. Hopefully Scribble is not as rude. Bar Sinister is good for Gambit, right? So again, Meek on turn 1. He's here. He's there. Play him out. So as I was going over turn 2, Colleen Wing is fine. Again, if you have Swarm in hand with no Blade or Meek. So right now I've got no turn 2 play. It's fine. Now turn 3 is where turn 3 is your first turn where you have to make a real decision with this deck. Because at the 3 cost slot, you have Gambit, you have Corvus, and you have Lady Sif. Gambit can be good if your opponent has something strong out on the board already and you have priority and you can get rid of it, like a Zabu, like a Morbius. If you can get rid of it on turn 3 with Gambit, do it. Okay? Otherwise, save him. Lady Sif is great if you have Apocalypse in hand, play Lady Sif. Okay? If not, Corvus is right now, Corvus is an option if you just want to say throw it up to the RNG gods, which is what I'm going to do, because this is one of those games that if I lose Dracula, I'm not going to be sad about it. We can still win these games without Dracula because we can still get a big apocalypse going. Okay, that's fine. Perfect. Love that. That's the ideal scenario. We will take that. So now we can play Dracula. Now we get Dracula down on the board. And honestly, I'm not above just jamming Blade into Bar Sinister right now. I am not against that at all right here. I think we're going to do that. Let's put Blade into Bar Sinister. Let's let our opponent know that they're not going to win that Grand Central lane. Because a lockjaw lane is a lane that an opponent always wants to be able to win, right? But like I was going to get ready to say, turn 4 is Dracula. Okay, if you can't play Dracula on turn 4, you want to do a couple. See, and this is why Corvus is good. Because now on this turn, we were able to play Corvus and Blade, right? Anyway, turn 4, you want Dracula down. Okay, before anything else, you want to get Dracula. Now, granted, we've conceded the left lane, which is fine because we're going to win. We want to ensure that we win the right lane. And on top of that, we now have Morbius. So now we're going to say, okay, not only are we going to win the right lane, but you're going to have to challenge really hard to come for this middle lane. Okay, so here we can play Lady Sif or... Okay, let's strategize the last 2 cards in our deck, MODOK and Colleen Wing. MODOK is great, but if we don't play the Swarm now, MODOK is not going to be the best play. And then we're going to be stuck with what we do with the right lane. Okay, so this is one of those turns where I might have... Now, granted, don't forget we have the extra 1 energy from Corvus. So on turn 6, we'll be able to play MODOK and Morbius if we need to. That means right here, I'm going to play Lady Sif. I'm going to play the Swarm. And that's it. Meek is going to stay where he's at, but he's going to get his power. So let's do this. Okay, so because I want to be... If we pull the MODOK, I want to be able to play it... Play the Morbius. Well, now we can't do any of those things. Oh, wait, no. Oh, sucker. He leeched himself. He's screwed. Anyway, get that leech crap out of here. But, okay, so he's now conceding the left lane, which is fascinating because he's not going to win the right lane out. Unless he's got a Cosmo or something that he's getting rid of. But we have priority, so whether or not he's got a Cosmo is irrelevant. Okay? He's going to have all the energy in the world, but... I think we're good because we have 7 points of energy to play thanks to Corvus, and even if we pull Colleen off the top, we can play Gambit, Morbius, and so now we don't even have to do that. Now we just play Morbius, we play MODOK, and the game's over. Right? Unless they have... Honestly, it doesn't matter what they have. The game's over. That Dracula, that Apocalypse is way too big for them to beat in the right lane. And they get lucky and flip into Blob, even if it adds an extra 50. I don't see any scenario where they can win here. And I think they're about to find that out. They'll probably concede. but they might just play it out because it's only 2 cubes. If I snap, they might have retreated. If they snap, I will snap back. Let's understand that. Hopefully it's not Enchantress or Rogue. That would be very bad. That we lose to. There's Magneto. He still doesn't win. He still doesn't beat us on power in the right. They didn't do the math. This is an easy win. Look at this. Look, we had a 32 power apocalypse going into the last turn with Dracula. 36 power apocalypse to end the game. This is what we do. Now, granted, Bar Sinister assisted with that, of course. You got to have some assistance to get it that big, but come on. This is modern discard, baby. This is the new twist on the classic discard. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys can understand, how those play lines go, and it wasn't too confusing. I didn't like mumble jumble over myself too much, but yeah, that's the deck, and that's how it performs. All right, everybody. So like I said before, that is modern discard. Okay, new take on the old classic. But that's it. Thank you guys for joining. If you guys got any questions, if you guys have any comments, please leave them down below. I will be more than happy to answer them. Check me out. Come hang by my Twitter, right? It's at GWFlashX. And again, all those links will be down in the description. I stream on Twitch. Head over to Twitch. Come catch me over there. I'm at Gaming with Flash X on Twitch. And that's it. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys for hanging out, stopping by, checking these videos out. If you appreciate this, if you learned something, hit it with a thumbs up, or not, hit it with a thumbs down. Interact with it somehow, right? Leave a comment, subscribe, please. We're on our way to 300 subscribers. I got some exciting information coming up soon. But again, I'm on my way to 300 subscribers, and share this with somebody who, again, you might think gets something from this. Got the Marvel Snap 101 for the beginners. Pass that along to them as well. And that is it. I'm Flash. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.